In the previous movie, we showed the core technique of how to make one 3D layer in After Effects appear to be projected onto others. In the next two movies, we're going to show you how to improve the final composite. In this one, we're going to show you how to make that projection either softer or sharper. And then in the final movie, we're going to show how to clean up that light leak that was around the projected image. So let's dive in. In the previous movie, we set up a combination of a light and a layer so that we could project that layer's image onto other 3D objects inside my world. Now the first thing you might notice is that I'm seeing just the wall where this light is projecting on it, and I'm not seeing any more of my wall or my floor. Quite often when you're building a scene like this, you will want to add at least one more light to the scene to help fill out your illumination of your overall world. In this case, I'm going to create an ambient light, which creates a gentle overall illumination. And I'm going to set a lower intensity of, say, 20% because I don't need a very bright light. I just want to fill in a little bit around in the shadows so I can see the rest of my wall and my floor. The next thing I'm going to tackle is how soft or how sharp this projection is. Depending on what you need to do, there's different parameters to adjust. Let's say I want to soften this projection. To do that, I select my projection light, type AA to reveal its 3D parameters, and I go ahead and increase its shadow diffusion property. The more diffuse the shadow, the softer the projection is. You go down to 0, and it sharpens it back up again. I'm going to go ahead and type C to bring up my camera tool, right-click to zoom in, and let's go ahead and move this over so I can get a better idea what's going on. Say that that's still too soft for me and I want to sharpen up even more. Well, I already have my shadow diffusion at 0. I can't go below 0 on that. So I'm going to need to access another parameter. For this, you need to go into Composition, Composition Settings, click on the Advanced tab, and then click on the Options for your rendering plugin. Options reveals the Shadow Map Resolution. This decides how many pixels are being used internally to render this shadow. More pixels, sharper shadow. The default is to use the same number of pixels as the composition size, but that's usually too few to get a nice sharp shadow. If you pick a higher number, say 2000 pixels on the side as opposed to this D1 size comp I'm working in now, click OK, click OK. Now you'll see I get a much sharper shadow. Higher shadow map resolution, even sharper shadow. Okay, sounds good, but there is no free lunch. The higher value you use for shadow diffusion to soften a shadow, or the higher value you use for the shadow map resolution, the longer your rendering time is going to be. So don't be cavalier and just throw this up to the maximum size right away. Do some experimenting. See how many pixels are enough to give you a sharp enough projection. Click OK. And then use the smallest number you can get away with. That will speed up your rendering times.